All right, everybody. I think we're live. I am the way that the reason why the last time I couldn't figure out if this was working or not was because I wasn't using there's like some software that you have to use so that uh, you can connect the live stream to YouTube and tell it that it's working. So I now know how that works. The only thing is I'm not quite sure how to be in the software that I need and also read your comments. Okay, and you guys can hear me. Um, so smaller screen. What do you mean, John? A smaller screen? That would be interesting to know. Kalispera. And if you all are familiar, then you know that today is Ohi Day. So usually it's a big holiday here in Greece, but everything was canceled because of coronavirus. So there was no parade like there normally is, and no, there were some ceremonies, but they were very like small attendances, and apparently usually there's a church service, and that is didn't happen. Like it happened, but no one attended it. Like the priest was the only person there. So, all right. So I'm not really sure. Well, this is really awkward. So I'm trying to figure out how to read the comments and see myself at the same time. But I guess that's not so important, actually. So, yes, Ohi to Corona. I vote that as well. So, Laura, I'm not sure if you're still here because I think you made the comment before I actually went live. Um, so, uh, I'm really glad I did not have Corona as well. That really would not have been, um, you know, really bad for me with my asthma. So, oh, okay, yeah, I don't think on the smart TV that I would fill the whole screen, and I don't know if I want to fill anyone's entire TV screen actually. Um, so you guys might hear that I'm still having some coughing, and I am having some shortness of breath still, and I'm also still having trouble breathing when I'm walking. So I'm not 100% better, and my doctor that I've been talking to, like my insurance has this thing called Teledoc, so you can talk to them. They recommended that I go back to the doctor. So unfortunately, I couldn't get an appointment until Monday, and that's probably because today was a holiday and just um, anyway. So I'm gonna muddle through this live as best I can. I wanted to have tea, but if I have tea, then I will have to get up and go to the bathroom, and that's probably not the best thing to do in the live stream. So let's get to the questions because I actually have questions for you guys as well. Prague, there's a black border around the screen. Yeah, I'm using some software that I now have to use to schedule a live stream, and it's my first time using it, so I'm not 100% sure how it exactly works. Like, I tried to test it the other day, but of course I didn't want to go live and have people realize that I was not actually on. So, and it is giving me a warning saying that the resolution is incorrect, but I can't fix that, and I don't really want to mess with it, actually. I'm kind of, that's like super scary to me because I'm afraid that it might actually just um, cut you all off or cut me off from you guys. Let me see if I can fix it. Hold on. Did that change it? I don't know. Like, it's hard to see what's happening. Because it's different this way. When I do the live and it's just live from my, like, go live and it's instantaneous, it looks totally different. So, I don't think there's anything I can do about it. You don't really need to, you don't need to see me anyway, you just need to hear me. So, yeah, I don't think it changed it didn't change on my end either. It keeps giving me this warning, but I don't think I can change it midstream. Anyway, let's move on to the questions. So I've gotten a lot, and they're kind of in like random order. So we're just going to go in the order that they've come in at because I don't really want to miss any. So I think it was John, you asked me this question. What is public? I talk about public in like half my videos probably, and that's because public is a bookstore. Public is like a chain bookstore here in Greece. So there's a really big one in Syntagma Square. So if you know where the Starbucks is in Syntagma, it's like the Starbucks is in the public. And then there's a small one near my house. And I'm sure there's other ones. I know there are ones in other larger towns. So that's what public is. And they have English books. And they have more than books as well. They have like computers and TVs and probably other stuff I don't know about because I don't really buy anything there except for books. And office supplies. How much Greek have I learned? Well, it's been a slow process because I haven't really been taking lessons. I started taking lessons last night. They're supposed to be the level 1, like a level 1, whatever, Greek lessons, but the people that were also in the lesson had been here for a lot longer and they'd taken Greek lessons before. And so they're much further ahead of me, and that is a little bit daunting because like the professor is moving faster, and like I also missed the first week because of being sick. I didn't want to potentially expose anyone in case I did have coronavirus, and I was sick, so I don't really need to, expose everyone to whatever it was that I had. So we'll see. Hopefully I'm getting better. I mean, I can greet people. I can ask people if they speak English. That's about it. I mean, I know a lot of words, but I can't really have a conversation. Is basically what it boils down to. Can I cook Greek food? I haven't really tried a whole lot because cooking is not something I super enjoy because I don't like cooking for just myself. It's not so exciting. I also don't have the best kitchen here. I think you've seen in some of my other videos, I have this little like half-size tabletop oven, which isn't really conducive to like cooking because it's like on top of my counter, so like it's too high for me, and then the oven is, and everything is like the temperature is not really great, like it's hard to control. So I'm hoping in my next apartment I have like a real oven that has like temperatures on it rather than just like hot, medium, and low. High, medium, and low. So I've tried to cook a few things, but I'm sure that they're like an Americanized version of Greek food. So, it's like the place I'm taking my Greek lessons at is, I guess, like a little private school. It's just once a week for like 3 hours. I don't really have time to do more than, I don't really even have time to do 3 hours. I wanted a 2-hour lesson. So we'll see if I keep up with it because she gave us so much homework and I have so much work right now that I don't know if I can do it. So, yes, if I move, I will move to a different neighborhood. It's not really going to matter like where I would like to be. It's where I'm going to be able to find a place that I can afford. I would love to stay in Kolonaki, but it's ridiculously expensive. So, and rents across Athens seem to be going up. I'm hoping that maybe it'll go down, since we haven't really gotten over this, this weird coronavirus thing, and I don't think tourists are coming back. So this was an interesting question. Well, I skipped one. Hold on. What are the people like? Okay, so I'm guessing that this person's never been to Greece. So, and I don't even remember who asked me this. I find it very interesting because the people in Athens are very different than the people on the islands. Not that the people in Athens aren't friendly. It's just that most of them don't work in the tourism industry. So, not most of them, but a lot of them don't work in the tourist industry in Athens. So they didn't interact with non-Greeks a lot. They interact with other Greek people. And so I'm sure that it's not that they're like not friendly, but they're just not as friendly as the people on the islands. I don't think it's that they're rude or that it's intentional. It's just they have their own lives. They have their own lives and they're busy. It's like when I lived in New York City, like I didn't really pay attention to tourists and they kind of annoyed me. So I imagine it feels a lot like that. If you talk to them individually and like, then they're very happy to talk to you and whatever, but it's like breaking into that. It's hard to break into like people's circle, especially here in Athens, because a lot of people who live here in Athens have lived here most of their life, and they speak Greek because they're Greek. I have talked to some other Greeks that are not from Athens, and they say the same thing. Like, it's not always easy to make friends here in Athens because everybody has known each other since they were little bitty. Anyway, hope that answered that question. I still think I probably answered that in the last live anyway, but will I ever return to live in the U.S.? That's a tough question for me to answer because I would love to. I mean, my plan was to move here and live here permanently, but there's a couple of factors that play into that. Like, I still don't have my residence permit. Remind me to tell you more about that later. And there's still a small chance that they could say no. They could still, like, I've gotten a temporary permit and I've submitted all the paperwork, but there's still a chance that they could be like, nope, sorry. And I think there's an appeals process, but I don't really know, like, if I have the patience to deal with all that. So the thing is I haven't lived in the U.S. in so long, like on a full-time permanent basis. Like, the last time I had my own apartment in the United States was in 2013. So that's 7 years ago. And when I have gone home, I've lived with my parents. It's not really an option, although they would tell you that it is. I have a very full house right now. So, of course, if I wanted to come home, my parents are never going to say no to me. They're never going to say, no, you can't move back home. So I don't really want to move back to the U.S. We'll see. There are other factors involved, but that's super personal, so I'm not going to talk about that. So, yeah, Athens is kind of dog. I think most big cities are dog eat dog, and I don't know if that's the nature of it being a city or if it's just because it's super competitive because everybody from Greece comes to Athens. So, yeah, Laura, I think the job market is still really bad. Because so many Greeks that do work in tourism with everything happening, it's just gotten worse. And they never fully recovered from the previous economic problem in 2008. So I have a friend who was working for a hotel and they were laid off in July and he still hasn't found a job. And, Greeks are very, stoic. And so he's like, oh, it's fine. I'll find something. So anyway, I'm going to go back to my list and then I'll come back to the questions in the chat. This is kind of hard to keep up with today. Did I have culture shock when I came to Greece? No. For a couple of reasons. First of all, this is not my first time living in a foreign country. So most of you know, well, some of you know, I used to live in Qatar. I lived in Qatar for 4 years, from 2013 to 2017. And that's definitely a much bigger culture shock. But I had actually lived in a very tiny country called the Turks and Caicos, which is sort of in the Caribbean. It's technically in the Atlantic Ocean, but if you ask them, they'd say it's the Caribbean. It's the smallest, well, not the smallest, it's the last island in the Bahamian chain, but it's not the Bahamas. It's this tiny chain of islands. And the island I lived on was 7 miles long and a mile wide. That was culture shock. There was really, but you know what? Like I thrive on that. Like I love seeing the differences in culture. Like I love it. Now, I'm not saying that I don't find certain things annoying, but that's just human nature. So, and I also had been to Greece many times before I moved here. And like every year it's gotten longer and longer. First year was 2 weeks, and then it was a month, and then it was 3 months, and now it's now. So, all right, we'll go back to the questions. What appeals to me about living in Greece permanently? Hey, Julie. Sorry. Well, I like the way of life here. It's much more relaxed than in the United States. I feel like people don't live to work, they work to live. You know, that's appealing. The weather is appealing. Originally when I moved here, I was going to live on an island. So that was very appealing. I'm still super close, so I keep trying to remind myself of that all the time. So that's, I actually like the challenge of living abroad. I really like change. So who knows? Maybe they'll end up moving to another European country in a couple of years. But I would like to enjoy being in Greece for a while. So, actually, Laura, I haven't been to many cities outside of Athens, like bigger cities, because most of my time in Greece has been on the islands and then here in Athens. So I don't really know. And most of the towns around Athens are pretty small. The next largest city is Thessaloniki, and then I think the third is it Nafplio? Anyway, I'm not sure of like population-wise, but that would be the next, at least in my mind, that would be the next choice. And they're not very big anyway. Like it's like even Athens isn't that big considering like of the cities that I'm. Patras is the third. Thank you. I knew it had to be that direction somewhere. And yeah, Patras is pretty large and they've got that beautiful bridge and everything. So anyway, go back to my Ohi Day. Somebody asked me to talk about Ohi Day. So today is Ohi Day. And if you don't know Greek, Ohi is no. And Ohi Day is the day that Greece said no to Mussolini. Basically, Italy wanted to invade Greece in support of the Axis during World War II. And Greece was like, no, absolutely not. And I did a little bit more research. I mean, I know the basic story behind it, but apparently they thought they were so emboldened that they thought Greece was just going to like let them walk in and walk all over them, was that, they thought, it's just this small country and they don't have the military to fight back and they'll say yes. So they go to the prime minister and ask him at a party at 3 a.m. And he's like, no, this is war now. And what they didn't know is that Greece had been preparing and they had set up troops all along the northern border. And it actually had a big impact on World War II. Germany now had to fight on both sides of a front. They were fighting in Russia at the same time. So they kind of had to send more troops this direction to, to fight. And so that it's sort of like, not decimated, but, it split their resources. So I've actually read up on people have said that this was like the war might have gone on a lot longer if Greece had said yes. So that's part of the reason that Greece is so proud. They helped make World War II shorter, but also like Greece was a lot stronger than people realized. And they did an amazing job. Like the Greek troops were amazing, so they should be proud. It is a little unusual to celebrate the entrance into a war instead of ending a war, but I get it. The other question is, am I working today? Yeah, because I'm freelance, I don't really like acknowledge holidays except for like Christmas. Um, because I just I don't know, like, and really, I haven't lived in the US in so long, like, I forget about the US holidays too. Like, I work on Labor Day, I work on Memorial Day, I usually end up working on the 4th of July as well. So, um, anyway, okay, I'm going to go back to the questions here because I see lots of them coming in. And yes, John, I know I didn't explore Corfu Town, and I'm really sorry. I plan to make it back. Athens is aggressive. You'll find enough people there who got their way to be rude. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of big city life. Like, people get irritated by living in a big city, and so they take it out on the people that are there. So, I think it's just me needing to. I have friends here, obviously, but not so many Greek friends, and that's what I would like to change. So. Ah, I live. You're in the western suburbs. Okay. I don't know if I really explored that part of Athens. The issue for me is I don't have a car, and nor do I really want to get a car. And I enjoy being able to walk to the center of Athens, and I can't do that if I live too much further. But yeah, John's got a great question. I'd love to know which suburbs you recommend. You may not want to say where you live, but if you have ones that you recommend, that would be great. I am self-employed. I pay my taxes in the US because I am not allowed to work in Greece technically. So it's kind of a weird, like, you can't work in Greece, but we don't mind you living here kind of thing. So now they say they're going to start taxing us non-resident, whatever, the residents that are non-Greek. So I haven't really gotten clarification on how much that's going to be. And technically, like, the rule is they would only, if I paid taxes, they would only pay me on, tax me on income that I make in Greece. Well, I don't make any income in Greece. So anyway, it's a really kind of a convoluted thing, and it's not easy to explain. Somebody asked me today if I will visit, and I looked up how to pronounce that, Halkidiki in Evia. Oh, I'm probably butchering that. I looked it up, but I've forgotten now. And then I didn't look up whether or not I could get a bus there. So I'm sure that there is a bus. So maybe, I mean, all Greek cities, islands, places are on my list. Like, I can't, except to maybe go back to Santorini and Mykonos. Other than that, all places are on the list. How's that for an answer? Ooh, thanks, Liv. I didn't see your comment with the response with the places. What other islands would I like to visit? All of them? But that may take a long time. So, I mean, there are I think the number of areas, there's like, depending on where you look, there's like over 200 inhabited islands, and there are like 6,000 total. So, not worth taking a bus there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. I said the Halkidiki correctly, but yeah, I always say Evia. Is it Evia? Wrong. And I can't figure out, I need to see it in Greek to figure out what it is that I'm doing it wrong. 6 or 7 hours on the bus? No thanks. 4 is my limit. Maybe someone will take pity on me and drive me there when I make some Greek friends. You know, this is, Evia. Okay, good. Now I've got two more words that I know how to pronounce correctly. Now if I could just ever learn how to say the hill that I live on. Um, yeah, I think I'm making it a long E and not a short E, and I think that's the problem. So, well, I'm gonna scroll back and see if I've missed any. Oh, yes, I did miss one. I thought I had. Have you ever worried about average salary increase being lower than back home? It is definitely much lower here. The average salary, the last time I checked, the average salary was about 800 euros a month, which is pretty low. Um, Even to maintain any kind of life here. It's why a lot of people still live at home with their parents until they're married because they just can't afford to move out. Because, like, an unfurnished apartment, depending on the area, is like 300 euros, maybe less if it's unfurnished. But when I say unfurnished, that usually means no refrigerator, no oven, no washing machine. So you have to buy all those things. And they're not that expensive here, but still, it's all those things you have to like think about. Obviously, that's the average. So there are some people that are making more, and there are obviously people that's a lot of people, if they're not um, living at home, they're living with a spouse, or maybe they have a roommate. But that's not as common as it is in the U.S. Like roommates are not. I mean, there are amongst the expat population, but not so much in like amongst the Greek population. Like one of my friends here, he lives with his brother. So, and a lot of people even so like I have friends that they don't necessarily live with their parents, but they live in an apartment that their parents own or the family owned or something like that. Um, so just is what it is. Once the economy looks a bit better. Okay. Um, I don't think Brexit's going to help Europe, actually. Um, I actually think Brexit, and this is going to be a controversial statement, no, Brexit is the beginning of the end of the EU. It may take 20 years, but this is, mark my words, it's now going to go onto YouTube, but I think this is the beginning of the end because even though Germany and France can politically support the EU, they can't financially support the EU. What would I say? There are some things that I dislike about Greece. I think I answered the last live too, but I'll answer it here too. Sidewalks. There is a lack of sidewalks in this country, and it's not just in Athens, it's everywhere. And if you do have a sidewalk, it's not even. The tiles are super slick because it's not concrete, so like you slip around. Sometimes the sidewalks are made of marble, which is not conducive to walking, especially if it's raining, or any kind of shoe that has a non-textured sole. I hate that you have to chase people to get things like done. Um, so earlier I was talking about a residence permit, and this is like a prime example. So not only have I had to chase my lawyer every like week or two to follow up and find out what they've done and what they haven't done, is I then had to email the administration because it kept saying they were waiting for my documents, but my lawyer had sent them like weeks ago. So I emailed them. They did email me back in the same day, which is sort of a miracle in my opinion. And they said, oh, well, we got them, but your lawyer didn't send the authorization saying that she could send them on your behalf. Well, she submitted that when we submitted the paperwork because she's the one that made all the appointments. And I'm like, it's just paperwork. It's not. I could have sent them. Anyway. But they never told me, and they never told my lawyer that happened. So I could have been waiting forever to hear something. No, I wouldn't have. I would have eventually, asked my lawyer to check. But I decided to take it upon myself because I figured it would be an easier answer. So that's now resolved. They have that piece of paper. So all my paperwork is in. And what does it say? It is under examination is what it says. So Okay, what are my favorite places in Athens? When you say places, do you mean like areas, neighborhoods? Um, I really like Theseus. Um, I really like a bar in Monastiraki called TOF. It's actually part of an art foundation. That's what it's called, the Art Foundation. And it's like in this old building that if you walked past it, you wouldn't even go into because it's like falling down and it's scary looking. But you walk in and it's these buildings that are around an internal courtyard. And so you're inside, but you're outside. And in the winter, they have a retractable roof so they can pull the roof in. And they have trees and they have this beautiful lighting and they usually have an amazing DJ. So the music is really good. Um, let's see. Um, I do really like the Commercial Triangle area. There's a lot of cool bars down there. There are a lot more coffee shops down there too, like when I first started coming. Um, however, I wouldn't want to live down there. It's so funny because I walk down there, I'm like, oh, this is so nice and quiet. It's so nice down here. And then I realize we have no tourists, and that's part of it. Like, it's not going to be that way normally. So, Kipseli is nice in terms of like things to do. Like, there's a great like area where you can walk around, and there are tons of bars and restaurants. Um, I do really like my neighborhood. I love Kolonaki, but yeah, I'm not going to stay. So I'm not going to get nostalgic about it because I will like whatever neighborhood it is that I end up moving to. Um, it's not really part of the reason that I'm living abroad. I'm not. Texas isn't super expensive where I'm from, and at this point in my life, that's probably where I would end up living if I did move back to the US because my family is there and my parents are in their 70s now. So if I was going to move back to the US, then I would want to be close to my family. Like, that's always been my thing is that if I move back to the US, then I want to live at home. So, um, so Texas is still way more expensive than Greece, but it's not expensive in terms of the US. So, oh yeah, the 2,000 euros a month is pretty easy to live on here because, like, you, you can find a decent apartment, for a decent price. And the only thing is, like, food and electricity are expensive. So, those are just things that are kind of annoying. Now, if you are living on that 2,000 euros and you need to save money for, like, say, retirement, then it's probably not enough. But if you're retired and that's what you're living on, then you're fine. So, yeah. Well, but my plan is Prague is to actually become a long term. I mean, I plan on buying, if everything gets approved and I finally get some money, my plan is to buy an apartment here. So, yeah, it's a nightmare anyway. Like, I know it's a nightmare for like, I've had to go to the KEP, I've had to get a tax number. Like, I have just as much of a headache. I mean, there are some things that I don't have to deal with. Like, I don't have to deal with filing my tax returns and then waiting to see how much it is that I owe and all that. So, but at some point I will because I'm hoping to, make that change. Do I listen to any Greek music? I mean, obviously when I'm out, it's playing, but I don't have a radio and I don't have a car, so I don't really have a way to listen to Greek music. And I guess I could listen to like Apple Music, but I'm sure it wouldn't be what I want to listen to. Like, I would have to find like a genre of Greek music that I like. So, oh, don't ask me to pick my favorite Greek food. Like, I like it all. Like, I don't think there's anything in Greece that I've eaten that I've gone, oh, that's terrible. But my favorites are pastitsio. Okay, my ultimate favorite thing is zucchini balls. And the best zucchini balls I've ever had, and trust me, I try them everywhere, is a tiny, tiny taverna on the island of Ios. It's called the Octopus Tree. And they're only open in the summer. And it's like their version of summer ends like in the middle of September. And they usually open in like, I think in June. So it's like a really short window of when you can actually go and eat there. So they make theirs are not like the ones you usually see, which are like formed into like these little patties. Those were like quick deep fried. Like they were literally like put together and stuck in for like 30 seconds and then taken out. Really amazing. And they have like they have more dill in them, I think, than the other ones that don't. So it's really that was my I look for one similar to it everywhere. I've not found them yet. Not that I don't like the other ones that I try. I'm having a good time trying to find some though. I love you, Mom. I love eggplant things. So I know that's not purely Greek, but I do like it. Ooh, thanks for the tip on the other bar. Oh, okay. I'll have to check out. Yeah, see, I'm not really a radio person on my computer. So like when I'm listening to music, I don't know. It's just not something I do. I have like a very specific playlist on my phone, and that's what I listen to. So when I don't, I'm much more of I'm listening to the music in a car, and so since I don't have a car here, in fact, it's so funny because I was on a date here, and I was in the car with them, and obviously had Greek radio on, and I was like, oh, this station's good. It wasn't Greek music, and I was like, wait, how would I ever listen to it? Why does it even matter? So, let's see. How is it really to live on an island in the winter? Okay, well, depending on the size of the island, it's going to be pretty boring because most islands don't like most of the things on the island don't operate year round. So Naxos was a good choice because it does have a fairly large year round population, but even then, it's pretty limited in like what's open, and really like the variety is low even in the summer. Like so in Naxos, you can get Greek food, you can get Mexican food, Italian food, and like American food. That's it. There's no Asian food of any kind. There's no Indian food. There's no, whatever. The movie theater shuts down for a little while and then it opens inside. But there's one movie theater. That's it. So it's kind of, it's, if you move there, it's a place that you need to make sure that you have your own hobbies. You need to have your own interests because if you go there, you won't have any entertainment. So that's my one thing about living on an island. And Greek houses, even especially on Greek islands, are not really built for the winter. So if you go, you have to find one that has heating and that's not just the inverter from the air conditioner. You need to have one that has either a wood burning fireplace or somehow has a boiler because the heating can be bad. And it can be very windy and it can be very wet. Somebody is messaging me on Instagram about my city in Evia. She was asking about Halkis, not Halkidiki. Oops. And she says it's only an hour by train. All right, I learned my lesson. I did look at it on a map and I thought, wow, that's 6 or 7 hours that's far considering where it is. But okay. No, I know. I apologize. Okay, and I still need to figure out where the train goes. So, anyway. What do you do for fun in the... Well, see, there's a lot more to do in Athens, than there is on an island. Like, there are tons of museums here. The movie theaters, when it's not coronavirus time, are open. People still get together and do stuff, and the restaurants don't close. So actually, a lot of people come to Athens in the winter because there's more to do here. And until actually they decided to cancel outdoor concerts back in like September, I was actually going to go to a concert here, which you would never get, at least not in Naxos. Maybe if you were living in Mykonos, you might have a concert. You know, there are clubs here, there's plays, there's the orchestra. You know, it's just there's a lot more things in to do in Athens all the year than there is on an island. So there are still a lot of immigrants here. The big camp in Lesbos burned down about a month ago, and they did move quite a few of the miners to other European countries and some to the mainland. I haven't really seen an update lately. I think because coronavirus is so bad, they haven't updated as much as they would normally. So no, there's still quite a few. The island is still quite full, and the island unfortunately can't handle it, and I'm sure that more people just keep coming. So how did I manage to make friends since I work from home? Well, so there are a lot of expat groups here. I did do some online dating for a while, and I've made a good friend that way. Obviously, we're not together; it's just a friend. You just have to be creative in how you meet people. Like, there's another expat group in a separate area called Internations that I don't love. I used it in Qatar, but I have met some people there. I did have a friend here who reached out to me on Twitter, but that's partly because I have this blog and I have this, and so like I have this active online life, so I've made some connections that way. So although I tend to be wary about people I meet on the internet because, well, it's the internet. But it was a woman, and we met in a public place, and anyway, we're now really good friends. So are they talking about? Yes, they are talking about further restrictions. Not necessarily a lockdown, but yesterday we had the worst day. It was like 1,295 people tested positive yesterday. Most of it's happening, not most of it, but the really critical areas. So Athens and Attica are an orange zone. So I think it's green, yellow, orange, and red. And Ioannina and another town up north are red. And it doesn't mean that they have more cases than we do. What it means is they have more cases per the population than we do. And so, and I went on to the daily newspaper, the Greek version, and translated it because they don't always translate the English version fully from the Greek. Like, you don't get the full story, and then they don't translate every story because they just don't have the staff, I guess. So basically, they're saying that where it's spreading is two things. One, people are in school. They weren't in the spring. And so there's obviously a lot more people gathering in smaller rooms and things, and it's getting colder. And it's especially getting colder up north. It's not cold here. And the other thing is people are not working from home anymore. And people are gathering at night, or they were, but now we have a curfew. We can, anywhere that's, I believe that anywhere that's in an orange zone, you cannot be out from 12:30 to 5 a.m. And so all our bars and restaurants were closing here in Attica at midnight anyway, so they're giving you time to finish and go home. So we now have to wear masks outside all the time. So it's not a big deal. I don't think the American Embassy does stuff anymore. I've never lived in a country where the American Embassy has done anything. I'm registered with the American Embassy so that they know that I'm here, but no one's ever reached out to me from the American Embassy at all. So, I have not watched any theater plays, mostly because they are in Greek, and so I just don't know enough to even be able to follow along. Like sometimes, obviously, like I can watch some Greek TV and try to figure out what's going on. But it's kind of frustrating, especially when you're paying for something to not understand. I haven't seen any signage for plays in English. That doesn't mean that they don't exist, though. Probably not right now because we're not allowed to go to any of those things. So, yeah, Internations was pretty good in Qatar, but here not so much, and it's the same group of like 20 people. But also, like, I think the expat population is really small here. It's even though we have lots of embassies, especially in my neighborhood, I just don't think they have like huge expat staff. And like we have small branches of the UN, but not. And a lot of the expats are Europeans, so they don't really feel like they're. I mean, obviously they're not in their home country, but I think Europeans have a little bit easier time adjusting, and they probably have like, Spanish expats in Athens, and they probably get together and do stuff, and they speak Spanish. That's the other thing is like, in Qatar, you had to speak English because that's the language that everybody communicates in. Here, it's Greek. Not that all the expats know Greek from Europe, but they're probably a lot more comfortable going and meeting expats from their own country to make friends with that they can speak their own language in, because all day they've spoken in English. Or if they're fortunate enough to speak Greek, then they're speaking Greek all day. Believe it or not, until you're like been fluent for a while, speaking in a second language is very tiring. You're always thinking about it. Until it becomes completely integrated into you, it's tiring. I was so exhausted after my lesson last night. Like, I felt like I had run like 10 miles. So, I haven't, so there are some, I mean, the thing is about the expat groups, Rob, is that the ones that I have met on, like the ones that I've seen online, they don't meet in person. So I haven't really, there's like a girls group that I belong to, but even that hasn't really been that successful. And I don't know if that's just because of the time we're living in as well. So I also don't really seek out other expats. It's not really, not that I don't mind meeting people from other countries. It's just I want to meet Greek people. So not that I've been successful at that either. But we need to have like a Greek expat exchange group is what we need. So no, most of the international things that I've seen here are locations in Athens. I did almost go to one this last weekend before I got sick. That was like a hike to a cave, and they were going to meet at the bus station and go. So, but I guess if they had ones that you had to drive to, I wouldn't be going to those. Although I would imagine that somebody with a car might be willing to take a few people. People are usually pretty good about like offering to help out. So anyway, so I actually have a couple of questions for you guys, if you don't mind. John, yeah, the thing is I don't really, well, I mean, I guess maybe they wouldn't have Greeks there. Would they have Greeks at Hellenic American Union? Because the thing is like, I want to meet Greek people. That's why I moved. It's not why I moved here, but it's why I want to live here. Like, I think part of the reason for me wanting to have Greek friends is because the Greek people aren't going to leave. If I make friends with expats, they leave. I've been here for a year and I had friends leave in September. That was a lot more common in Qatar. People would come and go all the time. But I want permanent friends. I think that's the reason, it's part of the reason I would like Greek friends. They could also teach me about Greek culture. Expats can't do that. So last time we talked, I asked you guys how you found me. And oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. You gave me great answers, and even the people that watched later gave me great answers and came back and told me how they found me. So really quickly, because we're coming up on like almost an hour here and I'm having trouble breathing. Do you guys know that I have a blog? Like, like, I know a lot of people just found me on YouTube. So like, I know not everyone reads description boxes. So do you know that I have a blog and that it's called A Girl and Her Passport? Anyway, just putting that out there. Got a question. And a while back, I had asked people what they would like to see from me here. And somebody asked me for a day in the life video. Well, most of my days are sat in this apartment. Like what you're seeing right now is where I sit. There's a window in front of me and I watch people go by as I work. So I don't know if that would be super interesting. I mean, obviously there are days that I'm not here, so I could film one of those days, but is that something that like you would be interested in? And part of the reason that I'm asking about that is because as I'm already having trouble breathing, and I don't know what they're going to tell me on Monday, I don't know how much content I'm going to be able to produce sitting in my apartment. So a day in the life might be something like helpful, like not helpful, but it might be something interesting to you that's not about Greece that I could do, you know, here in my apartment. Right now, John, I can't climb the hill. I can barely walk up the hill to get to my apartment. That's how bad the breathing is when I'm walking. I'm having a hard time doing live, actually. Like, continuously talking is hard, unfortunately. I would love to take a daily wander, now, especially now that the temperatures have dropped. That was actually my plan. I had started to do some yoga, and I was trying to walk again every day, and I really wanted to start hiking the hill like I did during lockdown. Which is probably where a lot of you found me, and I can't do it right now, unfortunately. So what else would you want to see from me? Like, since I'm going to be stuck in my house, probably. We'll see. I can do more vlogging. Obviously, hopefully I'll have an update. Hopefully I'll have an update on my residence permit soon. So, let's see the window. If I show you the window, you're going to see A, my mess, and B, I'm going to knock my entire setup all over. I have a ring light here because it's dark here now. We had summertime happen over the weekend here. I know it didn't happen in the US and in other parts of the world, but in Europe and in the UK, I believe that we all had we stopped from summer. So it now gets dark by like 6 o'clock. So I have to have this ring light, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see me. Okay, good. Yeah, I have taken a few weeks off occasionally because I just haven't been able, I've been too sick or I've been too busy. The thing is like, then my channel doesn't grow, unfortunately. And people stop interacting with me if I stop making videos. So, part of the reason I do the videos is because I like the community that it creates. And if if I'm not making video, people don't usually comment because they've already watched the other videos and they're done. Some people do go back and watch old videos, but not everyone does. So, okay, yes, you did see my blog. So yeah, I like that idea. What I could do is, I can't make Greek food, but I could order Greek food and I could show it to you. That'd be interesting. So, awesome, Rob. Yeah, I mean, during the day in the life video, I'll show you the window. How's that? Thoughts on your life in Qatar, like a video about the thoughts on my life in Qatar. I could do that. I actually have video that I filmed when I lived there that I've never shown anything. So, yeah, I filmed a lot before I had a YouTube channel, and I put a few videos up, but it just wasn't something I was super excited about at the time, and I kind of wish I had been. So I have a lot of footage from there. I have some Middle Eastern footage way back if you want to go back. They're different though. Like, I don't talk in them because I wasn't comfortable yet. So I have a video on Egypt. I have a video on Oman. So yeah, let me know. Do you want me to talk about Qatar now or in a video? If you go back and look at some of my other videos, I have residency permit updates once I get a final decision on the residence permit, I will obviously come back and make a video about that. So no worries. So there's one video, there's 2 videos, maybe 3. It's chilly here. Like, it's not chilly for like the rest of the world, but the minute it drops below 75 in Greece, it starts to get chilly. And because my apartment is in the basement, I've noticed it in the last week. Like, my apartment isn't warm anymore. So how's the espresso here is not an espresso you would want to drink by itself. It's not an Italian espresso where you go into a bar and go, and it's good. But I'm not an espresso person, so yeah. Food. Okay, John says food, and yes, I did see John showed me his I think it was a pork hero that he got. It looked amazing. It actually looked like he'd gotten it in Greece. It looked that good. So I was actually eating Thai soup when you sent that to me. I should have sent you like my Thai soup video, a picture of my Thai soup, which didn't look very good in a photo. There are a lot of reaction channels on YouTube. Maybe you could ask us things we want to see you react to. Listen to Greek music like someone, yeah, okay. That's actually not a bad. What I also could do is maybe react to some tourist videos of Greece. They may not like me doing that. We'll see. No, the other very Greek thing is ordering coffee to be delivered to your house, which I've only done once. And I said, well, you know, I could teach you what I've learned. I probably couldn't teach you anything about my Greek lessons. I'm going to show you the Greek book. This is my Greek book. This is the interesting thing about the Greek book is, and I'm sure this should be this way, but all the instructions on what you're supposed to do are in Greek. So last night at the lesson, I was like, well, what does that say? So she was telling me, so I'm writing actually what the instructions are out on the side. But I have all of chapter 1 homework to do, and then I have all of this to do as well, and I'm overwhelmed. So let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, congratulations on your retirement. Qatar could be your future video when you're stuck in my, yeah, I'm going to be stuck. I have a feeling, even if there's actually nothing wrong with me on Monday, that it's just my asthma creating this issue, is that it's just going to take me a while to get over this, and which just means resting, which normally I wouldn't have a problem with, but when somebody tells me I have to rest, I get really irritated. So, oh, a short video. Yeah, I really would like to do short videos on each neighborhood, but I think I need to spend more time in some of them. So, and I don't have content on my blog for that, but Prague, are you a blogger or something? Because that's like the best idea ever. So, fabulous. You know, it's so funny. I walk past a capo all the time and I've never had a coffee there. So, my nose itches. Sorry. It's driving me crazy. I am not a sugar milk person, so Freddos don't really appeal to me. I will occasionally have an Freddo espresso. I am a black coffee person. I like strong, black, hot coffee. So, in fact, I get an Americano like all the time. So, I make a French press here at home. So I do have a Briki, but it's not for me. It's not for making coffee. It's for making hot chocolate because it's like the perfect size for a single hot chocolate. Oh, good. I'm glad you think that's the best book. Like, when I went to the bookstore, they had a huge stack of them, so I assumed that it's the best. It comes with CDs, but I don't have a CD player, which is kind of unfortunate because I would listen to it, because that would actually help me because my pronunciation is terrible, as you guys all know. So, Um, styles of clothing. It's very American. I mean, in my opinion. Although, not for men. So, not for men, because men here tend to wear, like, at least young men, men in like their 20s. They wear the jogger pants, the ones that have the elastic at the bottom that women wear. And in the US, I don't think, at least not in Texas, maybe in New York, and maybe in LA. But I don't know men, and that's not just a Greek thing. That's a European. Like I have European men friends, man friends, gentlemen friends, like friends, not dates, and they wear them. Men are much more aware of their appearance here in terms of like, they wear like tight t-shirts and they have necklaces and jewelry, so that's different. The women, you have Greek women who are very like put together and they're very fashion, like not, I wouldn't say people are like super fashion forward, but they're definitely like on trend. But then there's obviously the Greek, just like in any country where like they don't really care. So I sometimes walk around Athens and think I look like a slob, and then sometimes I think I look great. So who knows? Anyway, yeah, it would be a great way to get to know all the neighborhoods and stuff. Men sitting in any cafe in Greece sort of like it just, I would really like to sit down one day, like randomly just walk up to a group of like older Greek men sitting in a coffee shop and say, "Can I sit with you?" I don't want to like interrupt your conversation. Well, of course I don't speak enough Greek to, but I just kind of want to sit there and listen. What are you talking about for hours on end? So across from Da Capo, so Da Capo is this famous coffee shop in Kolonaki Square. Across from Da Capo is this other coffee shop that's much larger. And they have television screens for the football matches. And old people sit there for hours. So I really one day want to sit down with them and be like, what do you do here all day? Like, what are you talking about? And it happens on the islands too. Like you walk by and there's a group of men or women. Sometimes they're mixed, but usually it's separate. What are you talking about? And how many cigarettes have you smoked while you're sitting there? And how many cups of coffee have you had? I find it fascinating. Like the cafe culture here is intriguing to me because like literally I could go sit down. So there's a coffee shop at the end of my street and I can go sit there for like 3 hours and they don't care. They just don't care. So I think it's fabulous. I love it. So, I think the challenge for me is that even though I like the slower lifestyle, my brain isn't used to it yet. Like, I still get really frustrated sometimes when things don't happen quickly. And then, of course, there are times when I'm like, that's just the way it is. So, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But I'm not a patient person by nature. So the fact that, like, it's not an immediate, like, reaction for me is a good thing. Like, it's already slowed me down. I don't think you see that so much anymore, Prague. Like, I don't really notice, like, or I don't notice them. Sometimes I don't, if you're like a normal person to me, I probably don't pay you much attention. I'm a very intent walker. Like, people will tell you, like, when I lived in like New York City, people will be like, "Oh, I saw you today." And I'm like, "Where?" And they're like, "Well, I said hi, but you just kept walking." Because I'm very much, when I'm walking, I'm kind of in my own zone. So unless I'm out like walking and filming or walking slowly with intention, I don't always notice those things. So I do notice some business people, but usually they're with other people. So, any Greek TV shows on Netflix? I don't think so. But you can turn on, well, I don't know, because, like, see, everything everything is sort of customized to what you like watch in general. So I haven't gotten any Greek TV shows recommended, but that's probably because I'm watching in English, so they're not going to suggest to me a show in Greek. Maybe someone else here knows. I don't know. Bye, Prague. Thanks for coming and all your great questions. And yeah, hit me up with some of those marketing things. That'd be great. I'm always happy to take free advice. Anyway, I did have one more question for you guys. So other than like getting notifications here about like when a new video is coming out, I know some of you follow me on Instagram, but is there other places that you follow, like keep up with me? Just because I want to make sure that when I have a new video or I have a question or I've disappeared and you'd like to know where I am, where you're at, so that I can make sure that I'm meeting you where you are and so that you don't miss anything. Anyway, that's really all I have. We've completed the list of questions on both sides. Maybe I didn't look at my Instagram. I know some people messaged me to see. Yeah, the video, I can see what's happening on the video, so I'm gonna figure out how to fix that for the next one. So hopefully I'll do this again in another month. Probably towards the end of the month. I'm hoping to go home in December for Christmas, but with coronavirus and travel restrictions, I don't know what's going to happen with that. So if I go home to Texas, then I probably will not do a live, because doing a live with my family around would be impossible. So at least one more before the end of the year, two if I don't go home to the US. So anyway, if for some reason, okay, someone else is asking, can you tell us more goals? Yeah, my plan is to live here for a while. I'm not a long-term planner, so this is my plan for right now. I know for a lot of people, they're like, what? What do you mean you don't have a plan? It's just not my nature. Like, I actually never thought, when I left Qatar, I never thought I would actually be permanently anywhere for a while. So I guess this is the plan. I mean, I don't know. Like, who knows? I don't like to say this is what I'm doing and I'm sticking to it. Like, not that I don't think planning is a good thing, but I feel a lot of people make plans and then they're like, I must stick with this plan. And then if it doesn't work out, they're like super disappointed in their life. And I just don't, it's just not my thing. So I don't ever want to be disappointed by not doing something. It just means something better came along. So, I don't know, honestly, about housing, like how much a house is. I haven't really done a whole lot of research. It depends on what you're looking for, because, if it's something small, it's cheap. And if it's something really big, it's really expensive. I've seen things for 53,000 euros. I've seen things for €500,000. And I don't have kids, so I don't know. I'm not doing anything for Halloween. My birthday is the day before, and of course I'm sick and blah, blah, blah. So and I've never been a Halloween person because my birthday is the day before. So, and I'm not doing anything for my birthday either because A, I don't care that much, and B, I'm just too tired. My birthday is going to be sitting on my couch over there, probably with a gin and tonic, watching a movie, and I will be very happy with that situation. So, anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to end it here. I love talking to you guys. I love it when you come on and ask me questions. Makes me feel like I'm actually helping you guys out a little bit too. And like I said, I started this channel so that I can interact with people. So that's the whole goal. I hope you guys stay safe, stay well, and warm if it's cold where you are. So, thank you. And I am started to film for the next video. So there should be a regular video up next week. And then hopefully I'll be able to get out once I'm fully better and do some filming around the city. So, no, I'm probably going to have one drink because I'm sick and because I don't think it's a good idea. So, anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Y'all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.